Bender snuck into the tent, ready to undergo a forbidden operation. The professor took out his tools and began a massive modification on Bender's body. Afterward, they drained all the oil from his system and replaced it with female-grade oil. It all started because Bender had always dreamed of becoming a bending champion, but the robots in the competition were too powerful, and he thought he'd never win the title. That is, until he discovered the upcoming female robot competition. If he couldn't be the bending champion, then he'd become the bending queen. After a quick disguise, Bender headed to the registration desk, claiming to be a female contestant. For Bender, the women's division was a piece of cake as a male robot. He knew exactly what the judges wanted. Even when he messed up the long jump, he could easily stage a few accidents to get the judges to adjust his scores. Soon, someone grew suspicious of Bender and demanded a gender test. Unwilling to give up his chance at victory, Bender begged the professor to turn him into a female robot. In the robot world, oil was like human hormones once changed. The effect was irreversible, but at the thought of becoming a queen, Bender ignored all the consequences. The operation finally reached its final step. The professor cut off the antenna on Bender's head, a procedure equivalent to castration for a robot. Bender fulfilled his dream of becoming the bending queen and even appeared on a TV talk show. Having once been a male robot, Bender understood the audience's hearts perfectly. He opened the show with a stunning dance that made fellow guest Calculin fall head over heels for him at first sight. Thus, Bender began dating the wealthy robot tycoon not out of true love, but to get his hands on his money. However, Bender had forgotten one thing. His system now ran on female oil, which made him overly sentimental. When Calculin stood on a hot air balloon, poured out his heart, and declared his love, Bender's own heart skipped a beat. He returned to the company and announced he was giving up the sham marriage, but he couldn't bear to break Calculin's sincere heart. Bender didn't know how to resolve the situation, so his friends decided to help him escape. On the wedding day, the bride Bender suddenly screamed and fainted. Zwaberg disguised himself as a doctor and announced that Bender had an incurable terminal illness. Calculin was devastated. His loud sobs woke the feigning dead Bender. Before the groom could rejoice, Fry disguised himself as a vengeful hitman, rushed into the wedding reception, and threw a spear, pretending to kill Bender. Grief-stricken over his wife's death, Calculin decided to turn their tragic love story into a movie. Before long, Bender was transformed back into a male robot. Meanwhile, Calculin's adapted film was released. Watching the melodramatic plot unfold on screen, the men groaned and left one after another. Bender echoed their complaints and started to leave, but when he saw Calculin on TV, his eyes filled with tears.